John Hayes, for those of you who know who he is a radio guy. He was the CEO of Alliance back in the Young Country days, and most famously was the general manager at WNBC during the Kevin Metheny, Howard Stern days. And in fact, in Stern's book, he was Incubus was the chapter dedicated to our dear friend John Hayes. John was the person who hired me when I was 22. I think I was 22. And in Seattle, in Market 13, kid from Oklahoma. And this was where I hung up the phone and took the job without knowing how much it was. And I finally had lunch with John years later, because now being in a position to hire people, I can't imagine handing the keys to a $50 million radio station that I just paid for to a 22-year-old kid that flunked out of college from Oklahoma City. And we're in Seattle, Washington, and we're going to be the third country station taking on the #1 station and an upstart station. I just can't imagine. I'm like, you have got to walk me through that thought process, because that is just
seems like a bad management decision.
It seems awful. I'm grateful, but I just look at it and go, how did you do it? And he smiled, and he told me this great story, and it's very, very simple. And it really gets to this grooves concept that I keep talking about, which is, imagine a merry-go-round that's going around, and there's somebody in front of me that is a seasoned veteran that's been there for 50 years and so on and so forth, and they're the best country programmer in the world or whatever it would be. And they're on the horse that's going up and down. I'm on the horse behind them that's going down. And the job is out here. And as you go around, there's a brass ring right there. And the guy who was in front, this is what John said, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I just asked a question, why you hired me, and we're talking about merry-go-rounds. As the merry-go-round goes around, he said, I never want to hire the person when the merry-go-round goes around, grabs the brass ring the first time. Never want to do it. I always want to hire the person who misses it by that much every single time. Because he said, I knew that you would work 10 times harder to close a 1-inch gap than the guy who got the ring the first time around. And I said, I got it. And what connected with me about it was my energy of taking advantage of these situations, because he's right. I have to close that gap. And so for me personally, what I always have to do in my life to prevent those grooves from getting deep is keep pushing that ring further away from me, further away from me, further away from me. Or introducing new rings on that same merry-go-round. That is literally how I think about it. We hired a new general counsel at OWN by the name of Tina Perry. She's a wonderful woman. She was a vice president when I walked in, VP. She's now the executive vice president, general counsel of the network, a job that you probably in the legal world would have to work 10 to 15 years. Doesn't hurt that she's from Oklahoma, frankly. I found another one in LA, so I'm going to hold on to him tight. But we'd interviewed all these other people, and I was sitting down with Sherry and Oprah, and I was sharing this brass ring story. And by halfway through the story, Oprah looked at me and she said, I get it, hire Tina. I'm like, got it. And you know what? She's put in more hours and worked harder, and that theory has proved to be successful as a manager in hiring people time and time again. Now, I say this to the deep grooved people who are in the room or who are in the sphere, or whoever they are. You can choose to grab the ring, or you can choose to push it away. That's another way that you offset your grooves, to get out of it. And so, for me, if you're the person that can grab it on the first pass, then find a way to push that ring out, because by pushing that ring out, it's going to pull you up and pull you out.